everyone, and welcome back to Real Estate Unlocked, your go-to mini-series where we break down everything you need to know about buying and selling a home. In this week's episode, we're talking about Section 6, the Property Disclosure Statement, often referred to as the PDS. So what is the Property Disclosure Statement? The PDS is a form that is completed by the seller. It outlines what they know about the condition and the history of the property. It covers things like the roof, foundation, plumbing, electrical, and whether the home has experienced issues such as water damage, pests, or other known concerns. It's important to note that the PDS is based on the seller's knowledge at the time it's completed. It's not a warranty and it does not replace a home inspection, but it can provide valuable insight for buyers. In Part 1 of Section 6, the buyer indicates the seller's responsibility when it comes to the property disclosure statement. This section outlines 3 options that the seller can choose from. The first, the seller may complete a new property disclosure statement and deliver it to the buyer. Once the buyer reviews it and approves it, the PDS becomes part of the contract. The second, if the seller has already completed a property disclosure statement, that previously completed document can be attached to the offer and form part of the contract. And the third, the seller may choose not to provide a PDS statement at all. While completing a PDS is not mandatory, once a seller chooses to provide one, whether new or previously completed, they take on a responsibility to be accurate and truthful, as it does become part of the contract. In Part 2, it explains that if the seller completes a property disclosure statement, they must do so truthfully and to the best of their knowledge at the time of completion. Each statement on the PDS must be marked in one of 3 options: correct, not correct, or I don't know. If a statement is marked as not correct or I don't know, then the seller must provide an explanation as to why. This isn't about knowing everything, it's about being honest. If the seller genuinely doesn't know something, selecting I don't know is completely acceptable. Guessing or assuming, however, can create problems down the road. If anything changes after the PDS is completed, but before the buyer takes possession, the seller is then required to update the buyer with that new information. Buyers often rely on the property disclosure statement when deciding how to move forward. So whether that means requesting further information, scheduling inspections, or adjusting expectations about the home. For sellers, honesty on the PDS is super important. Accurate or incomplete disclosures can lead to legal issues after the sale has closed. Proper disclosure, even when issues exist, helps to manage expectations, it builds trust, and it reduces the risk of disputes down the road. It's also important to understand that if a seller chooses not to provide a PDS, it doesn't automatically mean that there's something wrong. However, it does mean that buyers need to be extra diligent and that a home inspection becomes even more important. Section 6 plays a key role in transparency during a real estate transaction by setting clear expectations around what is known about the property and what isn't. If you're following along with the Offer to Purchase series, make sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss the next episode where we're going to break down Section 7, the conditions within the offer.